Crime is in the spotlight. So much is being said at this time. We've crossed over 500 murders for this year already. And a man who has always been outspoken and is adding his voice to what is taking place now. Let's welcome the former Commissioner of Police and political leader of the NTA, Mr. Gary Griffith. A pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Griffith.
Hi, good evening, Kate. Good evening to your many listeners.
One of the things you said was that the TTPS has too many dinosaurs. It's too Jurassic. It's too old. I mean, looking at what's happening here now, 500 plus murders. I mean, you're talking about having to go and change the entire culture of the TTPS so there can be a better understanding to adopt technology. I mean, are we really and truly, is this a difficult task, one that some people are just not cut out for? Tell us.
Well, the good thing about it is that in middle management, the hierarchy of the police service from those persons who rank from just looking at sergeant, inspector, and so forth, there are officers there that have the capability to truly turn the police service around. There are few that would be the higher echelon in the police service, and unfortunately, some of them after I left were just going back into the old type of policing. It is very unfortunate. I mean, there are several officers I know in middle management that can do this. They understood the leadership principles that I put into the police service to transform the police service. That is why when I took over the police service, there was a 14% public percent confidence in the police service. When I departed, it was 65%. A year later, it was probably going back down to less than 14%. And it has to do with the things we put in place to measure performance, make them accountable, ensuring that proper degree of management and leadership. That is not one out the window. There's no degree of accountability, no measurement of performance, and the results are showing. And it has nothing to do with the rank and style of the police service, but it has to do with the hierarchy of the police service. Okay, every single thing that I put in place, hundreds of different policies, plans, systems to measure performance, it transformed the police service, and that is what we saw. That's why we saw the result. It is mind-boggling that people have the audacity and the excuse to try to say that it was because of COVID there was a drastic reduction. Because 3 months before COVID started, it was in early 2020, we recorded the safest carnival ever. We turned it around before COVID. And after I left, there was still COVID, there was still the state of emergency, there was still public health regulation. And in October, November, when I left, when everything was shut down, we saw the highest number of murders, just about the highest number ever seen. That was in October, November, during the state of emergency. So when you have these criminologists trying to come up with fancy excuses because they do not want to accept the facts, this can be turned around. That last year was 342 murders for the year. In any given, it was the lowest in any given year in over 15 years. After I left in that last year, it has been over 586, which is the highest number of murders in our history in any given year. So it shows that we can turn this around, but unfortunately, the person in the police service, they have gone back to the old-time policing, the old-type standards of policing, the systems we had to ensure high visibility, a rapid response, all of these things that peg back criminals, put the shame to criminals, it has now been gone.
But that's a serious focus there when you talk about management and, of course, leading the force, because recently Acting Police Commissioner McDonald Jacobs said in an interview with the media, he called on the TT Police Service to not give up the fight, although the murder rate has crossed 500 for the year. He says the executive of the TTPS is very concerned with the number of murders we are having within the streets and communities. We have now reached 500 murders plus for the year so far, with 2 more months for the year. He's actually pleading with divisional commanders who are in command of their divisions and their spaces. I mean, this is basically like going to play a match and the coach is now trying to coach while the game is taking place. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, it is. It is total lack of leadership. Yeah, show him the towel. So what he has done is he's now begging and pleading with his players to go out there and win, even though there's no leadership, there's no direction, moral and motivation have gone out the window. But I do agree with him, they must not give up. But the police officers, it is difficult for them to give their all, even if there's no proper leadership at the top. He has not put one system in place. So when you want to shut down, dismantle, destroy, fire, change it with something else. But in your exuberance to try to destroy every single thing because you figure that you are trying to destroy Griffith's legacy. It's not my legacy. It is when I put systems in place to make the police service one of the best in the Caribbean. And the rest of the Caribbean saw it and they believed in it. I have been contacted by several different countries in the Caribbean asking me to do the same thing that I did for the police service, to transform it. But sometimes, Trinidad and Tobago, ego gets the better of persons. When you listen to Mr. Jacob, he gets 100 recruits to add to 7,000, and he has the audacity to say this could assist us. But you have 5,000 members of the defense force. 5,000. There's no war right now. They can be used as an aid to civil power to support the police service. That is part of their role and function. And the nonsense that people will say that defense force, they don't have that type of training. I was a member of the defense force, and I was involved in the type of policing that was done in the United Nations in Haiti. I came back as a post-Trinidad and Tobago citizen with a UN peacekeeping medal. Here the word peacekeeping. So, and this government has refused to utilize that defense force, because when we had this about 2.5 years ago, when 150 men were coming down into Port of Spain to destroy Port of Spain, not one member of the defense force was directed by the government to come out to support me. They said, let Gayelle handle it, and I did it. We were able to get them back, divert them back down into the eastern part of Port of Spain without any damage to Port of Spain, in contrast to what happened in 1990. But again, it has shown that we have systems, there are things that can be done. It was done by the People's Partnership under General Sandy as the Minister of National Security, where it is that the defense force came out and it worked. And it was the lowest number of serious crime in 25 years. That was when I became Minister of National Security. But you see, there's a difference. We have 9 murders in 4 days. Kamala Prasad and the People's Partnership and the Security Advisor will tell us, so you put on your call a state of emergency because you are concerned. But now we could get about 12 murders in 1 day. And this government has stayed silent. There's not a word from Rowley, not a word from Hines, not a word from Jacob. Everyone saying, please, you all don't give up, even though I don't know what to say, what to try to inspire.
And here's where the complexity comes into play. I mean, we're hearing all this rhetoric about rally around the officers, work with the officers, and law-abiding citizens have no problem with that whatsoever. But if you take a step back and make the assessment, and I want to ask you, that political hand, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did that political hand play while you were there at the helm of the TTPS?
Well, Monkey never treat the client. The good thing about it is that there was a team with Stuart Young as the Minister of National Security and myself. And I'm not going to blow my trumpet, but I could blow his. He understood his role and function. He was there to give me support. He was there to provide the support that I would require, the policies that would be required, and the laws that may be required. And that is why we saw it was the highest reduction in every violent crime in Trinidad and Tobago in 15 years. When I left, Jacob was as lost as you can get. And then Fitzgerald Hines, Minister Sleepy, when you compare him to Stuart Young, it was chalk and cheese. So the government never in any way tried to interfere with my policing. I did what I had to do. The one time that anytime there was any degree of interference, it had nothing to do with the policing aspect. So, for example, as I mentioned, when it is that $45 billion will be given to me, and I'm told that it is to use specifically to investigate political opponents. And then you have a joking comedian like Philip Alexander saying, well, why didn't you arrest him? Can someone please educate this man? He's become the laughing stock of politics in this country. There is not a criminal offense that was committed by the government when they gave that $45 million. What it was you can't charge people for lack of ethics. So to the loose cannon might need to be educated to understand that rather than be babbling to try to impress someone. So that is the one concern that I will have there. The government will be trying to utilize funds to go after political opponents, which is not a criminal offense, but it is an ethical offense, and there's not a charge for that.
We understand that, and that's why I asked you how much of that political hand was being played, because at the end of it all, what the citizens are most concerned about right now is security. You are talking about people who cannot even have some sort of event at their home because they're afraid someone will jump the wall. They're coming into your homes. And this is the seriousness of it. People are no longer going out. If they do, they're coming back in at certain times. People are basically being held hostage in their homes due to this crime situation. And all of this tit for tat and the facts that you are making, tell us, can it be saved? And what are some of the low-lying fruits that can grab onto that can actually help us as citizens in this country, where security is
Trinidad and Tobago, it is there. It happened. It is not by accident that for the last 30 years, every single year that the PNM is in government, crime goes up. The only year that it went down was the last year when I was Commissioner of Police. It took me 18 months to transform the police service. It took me 18 months to try to utilize the technology and the systems I saw from NYPD, London Metropolitan Police, Chicago, and other countries to try to build Trinidad and Tobago police service. And it worked. The country started trusting, believing in the police service. Simple things that Jacob is asking the public to trust the police and give them support. All of the things I put in place to allow that, such as the Commissioner's Cup, the systems of crossroads, things to get the police to work with the citizens, online reporting, app reporting, SOS, all of these different things to give the public the opportunity to support and work with the police. So that's all been shut down and dismantled. So it is not going to work now. What I can state is, if it is, all you have to do is to put back the different policies and systems that put back the public confidence and trust in the police service, and there were things that put a deterrent to ensure high visibility, a rapid response. It put fear back into the criminals. They pegged back. They understood the product of opportunity was no longer there. A simple example, the Special Operation Response Team, they were instrumental to stop kidnappings. Kidnappings were to the past. The first time that Trinidad and Tobago was seeing kidnappers being arrested while stolen persons, they were able to seize lots of illegal weapons, be involved in saving persons while they were held against their will, being able to go after criminal elements. You shut down SWOT because you claim that they were involved in human rights violations. But other units have been involved in 4 and 5 times more killings than SWOT. You change it to a name of another unit, and in 6 months, the unit that has replaced SWOT, the one major ship that they have put was to arrest an old lady for selling school books and the pavement. And that is not the fault of the officers. It has to go back to leadership.
But one of the most important things here, I would like for you to highlight on this, is that this thing has a domino effect. I mean, it affects our economy, it affects foreign investment, it affects many of the things, how businesses operated. How did we lose track of that? Or how was that lost and it became the Get Gary target? How did that become the priority after all that is taking place? It's now about Get Gary.
Well, it is unfortunate. It always goes back to the politics. When you have one man alone, who has control to decide the direction of national security. So regardless of if a man will ensure that it was the highest reduction in crime in 25 years, regardless of if that person will continue to come first in every single merit list for Commissioner of Police, regardless of the Police Service Commissioner will say he is the best man for the job, regardless that 89% of the population say they want this individual, regardless of the bloodshed that you will see in the country, you will say to yourself, I do not care about any of that. I just don't like him because because of whatever reason, and that is definitely what we do not want. That void in leadership as a prime minister, the void in leadership as a security minister, where you spend all of your time attacking the UNC. All you do on your Facebook page, Fitzgerald Hines, he spends more time attacking the UNC than trying to deal with securing the country. You cannot expect to secure a country if you hate half of the country. And then the third one is that within the Three Stooges is the Commissioner of Police, who is he has spent more time in putting focus on law-abiding citizens having legal firearms, firearm dealers trying to provide firearms for law-abiding citizens to protect themselves than trying to put police officers to try to find illegal firearms. That is madness. We have over 70 police officers assigned specifically to target witch hunt and go on fishing expeditions to target law-abiding citizens who have legal firearms to defend themselves because of the state's inability to protect them. And you have not put one police officer to deal with the system of illegal firearms. And mind you, 100% of all murders committed in the last 4 years have been by illegal firearms. When you have that type of lack of responsibility, political manipulation, and using your resources in the wrong direction, you would get 600 murders for the year.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Griffith. How do you feel when you look and you see some of the victims, whether it be human trafficking or kidnapping, and you say to yourself, I had a system in place. I had a system to deal with that. And there would have been no need for these victims to be crying out now. How do you feel on a personal level when you see these things unfold?
Well, on a personal level, I mean, we have seen what is going on in the country. There's darkness that is just covering our country. And I'm not speaking about the weather. I am speaking about evil. I have spoken and met with several different persons in different religious aspects, and they have all told me there's a massive fight that I took on to decide to ensure that good could overcome evil in this country, to ensure that the evil that prevails in this country is not going to dominate. And by me doing that, I stepped on toes. I stepped on toes who were involved in evil because it benefited them. They benefited from the fact of human trafficking, money laundering, drugs, illegal weapons, gangs, politicians giving state contracts to criminal elements. All of these things, when I got involved and I started stepping on toes, I stepped on too many toes, and the evil started fighting back. It is now for the country to decide what do they want. Are they going to sit back and continue to say, well, I am PNM or whatever till I'm dead? That is not going to make your family safer. You need to make the decision as to what you need to do to ensure that good could overcome evil in this country.
Closing comments to the people of the country at this time?
I ask the country to just believe. Many people have they're responding. They believe that there's no turning back. That is what happened in 2018 when I became Commissioner of Police. We were seeing a total downhill of every single thing. The country now is smothered with darkness, with hate, with bitterness, with malice, with revenge. We can turn this country around. This is a lovely country. We have politicized this country. We have divided this country. We have used our intent for our own political manipulation for the benefit of your own at the expense of the country. I intend to continue to fight to make Trinidad and Tobago a safe country yet again. I intend to fight to unite Trinidad and Tobago. And I ask Trinidad and Tobago just one word: believe.
Thank you so much, Mr. Griffith. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and we'll be talking to you again, I'm sure, sometime in the near future. Thank you so much.